accustomed to. Infrastructure is developing at an unprecedented pace, and investment opportunities are increasing all around us in every region of Guyana. But economic growth alone does not automatically create inclusivity and ensure that opportunity is available to all. And President Ally is very much quite aware of this. And in every policy that he has crafted since entering office in 2020, has had this view in mind, that yes, we need to focus on the big things. We need to get our extractive industry going, and we need it to be modern, and we need to extract as much as we could. But we need to be responsible with how we are investing that, how we are utilizing those resources, not only for the present generation, but the future generation as well. True national development requires productive businesses. It requires skilled people, reliable institutions, efficient systems, access to financing, and opportunities that are accessible to ordinary Guyanese entrepreneurs. That is precisely why President Ally has placed such strong emphasis on economic diversification, digital transformation, entrepreneurship, equity, and private sector development. And all of these plans are there from since 2020, and of recent in 2025, the manifesto of the People's Progressive Party of what they intend to do in government and how they intend to do it. That, along with budget speeches that you would have followed, the debates, policy directions by the president himself and our vice president, all of it are well crafted and coordinated to make sure that every single Guyanese, no matter where you are, no matter what sector you're in, no matter what passion you have in the private sector, that you understand very clearly where it is we can help you as a government, what policies we are putting in place to ensure that you are successful with what you want to do. That is why it is very important that you follow all of these, because in it tells you of what tomorrow brings and what next year brings. So it's important to get ahead of what is happening. The establishment of the Development Bank of Guyana is one such significant national initiative that our president has crafted very carefully after listening to ordinary Guyanese, to citizens, to small businesses and business persons who currently have businesses and want to expand those businesses. And he has heard of the challenges. He has walked all across Guyana, and he has listened to everyone about what are some of the issues that they face in setting up a business, getting started, and expanding small businesses. So why is this bank so important? And how is it important to expanding the base of private sector investment and opportunities? For far too long, many Guyanese entrepreneurs have possessed the capabilities. And you all know that, some of you are part of that, and you know many people who have the capabilities. The ideas, you speak about them all the time. You hear people telling you of wanting to start a business or having a good idea, but just don't know how to go about doing it. And it's not just not knowing how to go about doing it. It's about accessing the finance to get starting. So no matter how brilliant that idea is, no matter the need and the space that there is for that idea or that business opportunity to grow, there is always this impediment. And one of the first impediments to get it going is the access to financing. We have the talent. We have the talent in Guyana. We have the ambition to grow very successfully. And I think if you look at the current trends of loan borrowing in the banking sector, you will see the rate of repayment is very high. The rate of default is very low. So when we enter into something as Guyanese, and I speak as a Guyanese here, we enter it with the conviction of being successful, and we enter it with the conviction that whatever we want to do, whatever we're championing, whatever we're investing in, is something that we want to see succeed and is successful. But as I said, the access to affordable financing, and affordable is a very key word here, access to affordable financing as well as proper guidance and technical help to develop that idea and to support that idea is always, more often than not, lacking, to the detriment of us not following through with the ideas, the dreams, and the aspirations that we have to get into business. Too many small businesses face issues with accessing financing, as I mentioned earlier, interest rates that many people cannot afford, the lack of mentorship, or simply could not satisfy the collateral requirements of the banking system. Too many promising enterprises struggle to scale their businesses because the traditional financing mechanism did not adequately meet their needs. This bank that has been created and conceptualized by His Excellency the President was therefore designed to address all of these barriers that I just spoke about directly. It forms part of his broader vision of building a very modern, inclusive, diversified, and opportunity-driven economy. The bank is not simply about giving a loan, because we've had this experience in the past. I think some of you in the room would recall Guy Bank. That's the name, right? Guy Bank. Ramsey and I were speaking about it earlier. That was a total disaster and a total failure. This bank will not be such a bank. It is about ensuring that the economic growth that we're witnessing all around us translate into the real opportunities for Guyanese that are living across every region and across every sector. And there isn't a region in Guyana that you can go to today that you're not seeing transformation, that you're not seeing development, that you're not seeing potential business opportunities, and you're not seeing the will of people to be part of that. This bank is expected to be launched with an estimated capitalization of $100 million US, with long-term support projected to approach $200 million US. The primary focus of the bank is specifically built to support entrepreneurs who have difficulty accessing traditional banking loans due to the unaffordable interest rate or lack of collateral. The primary focus will be on the micro, the small and medium-sized enterprises. In particular, we want to target the first-time entrepreneurs, the sole traders, the startups, and the priority groups, which includes youth entrepreneurs, women-owned businesses, and differently abled individuals. Not that if you don't have an existing business, you cannot approach the bank. You can, because if you have an existing business and you want to expand that business, you're not getting anywhere with a commercial bank. We can still meet with you. The key sectors that we want to focus on is agriculture and agro-processing, tourism and hospitality, hospitality services and trade, and the creative and digital industries. Those are the key ones that we want to focus on because there's a lot of room there in those sectors for us to build out. There's a lot of space and capacity and opportunities within those sectors for all of us to take advantage of. I don't see why is it that every Guyanese are not part of a business. Whether you're owning it, whether you're driving it, or being part of a consortium that is investing in something that you know that you're seeing are potential opportunities that currently exist. This inclusive approach is critical to our national development, as sustainable progress cannot be achieved when economic opportunities are limited to a narrow segment of the population or a specific region. And I want to spend some time to say to you that often when we think about business, we think about Georgetown. We think about Region 4. But if you open your mind to the possibilities that exist throughout Guyana, to the possibilities that exist in neighboring Brazil, in Suriname, the access that you have duty-free to enter into CARICOM with your products and your services. That social media and marketing now can take you all the way to North America and Europe and all across the world. If you open your mind to that possibility, you will see that even if you start something that is very small, you have a market that is global in nature. But it requires that will from you. It requires that will from you to utilize all of the tools that are at your disposal to make that happen. And let's talk about the tools. Now marketing is everything. You can have the best art and craft, the best painting, the best restaurant tucked up in a village somewhere, but if no one knows about it, no one will go. If the people who are big into tourism, who travel all over the world, looking to try new things, don't know about your business, or don't know that you have a nice restaurant, or a nice product, or a nice guest house, whether it's in, trying to use a different word, but I would say Baghdad, you all know about it. A nice little cottage in a Baghdad somewhere that gives them a beautiful view, a bed and breakfast. If they don't know about it, then you're not going to make any money from it. There are people who now will pay hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to have the experience of just living or waking up and being parked for a week, 2 weeks in a nice little cottage somewhere where they can see the sun comes up, goes down in the evening, cows in the pasture, gardens all over. People pay a lot just for that. And that is what countries like Thailand and Indonesia and all of these, that is what they're building their economies on. Hundreds of thousands and millions of people all over the world, traveling just to get that experience. So this doesn't require you to invest anything big. It doesn't require you to go and get millions, tens of millions of dollars. You can make as much money as the guy who has a very popular and big business. You can make the same money like him taking home at the end of the day than he is making at the end of the month, because he has a lot of overhead costs and he has all of that. So you have the ideas. You know what they are. What this development bank wants to do is to help you to unlock those ideas. Because if you go to any one of the commercial banks and say, I have a great idea, I'm going to build 5 cottages, and I'm going to put it somewhere in the Mahaica River, and I want a loan to invest in that, they might probably say, no, that's not what we're looking for. But if you come into the development bank, that's exactly what we want to help you with. We want to help you develop that idea, because we see the market for it. We see where Guyana is going. We are putting out and laying out the policies and investment to get those. And what are those? We're building a new terminal at the Chadijagan International Airport, modernizing the airport. There's the 4-lane that we're doing to the airport, and we're building another 4-lane to the airport. So in another 2 years, it will probably take you about 25, 30 minutes to get down to Georgetown. If you need to go to Mahaica, you bypass all of that and you use the road at the back. You probably will get there at the same time. So we're putting all of the investment in place. So when you think about the business ideas that you have, don't think about it in a vacuum. Don't think about it of the current challenges that you see, because the current challenges that are there are not going to be there in another year or in another 2 years. We were just discussing, and this is human nature. I wouldn't say it's a Guyanese thing. We were just discussing that how quickly we forget how our lives are changing and how things are changing. Take, for example, the Demerara Harbor Bridge, now the Barjagdeo Harbor Bridge. You would have had to sit here and plan what time you're going to catch the Demerara Harbor Bridge. You would have had to go look up whether it is open and it's closed and what time it is. You would have to plan whether you had to buy food here or what time you'll get home and actually cook to get dinner. Now you don't think about those things. And this was only, a couple months ago. 7, 8 months ago. Now you jump in your car, you get there, you think about the little traffic around the roundabout, but as soon as you hit the bridge, you're over and you're gone. That's how our lives are changing. That's how businesses are also changing. But we don't think about these things. So the guy who a couple months ago or a year ago would have looked at a nice piece of land over the river in Canal number 1 or something, he would have said, 3 hours to get over there, that's not worth. Let me go look for something on the East Coast or somewhere else. Now it's 15 minutes to get over there. The price of that land, the value of that land have all gone up. Exposed now to a lot of traffic and a lot of business opportunities. I'm saying this to tell you, don't think in the traditional sense. This is an ever-evolving country. I don't think you will find another country in the world right now, at this present time, that has an upward trajectory in almost everything that we're doing, in almost every sector that we're doing. It is really a golden time for our country, and I think that we are lucky to be here in this present time, to witness and to see what is happening in Guyana. We have all been here pre-2015. I think everyone here is old enough. And we saw what that was like. But we can't have that same mindset today. The mindset has to be a lot different. So coming back to the bank. This bank will offer zero interest, zero collateral loans to help start or to expand businesses. And this is what is meant by the president saying that he really wants to incorporate into the private sector a new wave of entrance. A new wave of entrance that have the ideas, have the passion, see the opportunities, have the willingness to go after it, but have been impeded by access to financing. So we're going to unlock this. Citizens will have access to training, to mentorship, to business support, and you can access up to $3 million with 0% interest, no collateral, which is basically removing the biggest barriers to starting or expanding a business. Now, $3 million to you, or some of you, may not sound like a lot. But $3 million with no interest and no collateral can do a lot, depend on how you think about it. So you would have heard His Excellency spoke about a bottling plant, a gas plant that we will be building. Let's take the gas plant, for example. The gas plant would require trucks to move that gas from one location to the other, probably taking it all the way over to Brazil. Now imagine if a truck, for example, one of those trucks costs about $25, $30 million. And imagine if you don't think about yourself. You think about coming together. 10 persons coming together. Going to the bank and saying, we want to invest in one of these trucks. We are going to set up a company. We will invest in this truck. It's a truck that is, you can't find it anywhere right now in Guyana because we're not moving that type of gas. And you come into the bank and you said, as a group, as a consortium, we would like to access this money to start this business. So as a group, you will get $40 million. You will enough money to buy this truck. You don't have to pay any interest. You didn't have to get any collateral to do this. You will have, and the government will work with you. You will have an agreement with the company to transport the gas. And right there, the business opportunity with just $3 million of your own that you start making money with in a sector that you have never dreamed of before. But it requires you to come together. Partnerships. And that's the way that we have to think. Because if you want to think about businesses by yourself, then you are burdening yourself. You are, depending on the type and the size of business, you are putting all that pressure on yourself. Remember, you are now competing in a Guyana where we have hundreds, if not thousands, of companies that are from all over the world. This is not the Guyana of pre-2015. You're not competing among yourselves anymore. You are competing against hundreds of companies from all over the world that are coming with digital technology, customer service, very high and efficient marketing reach. So it requires you to think not just yourself, but coming together. If 5 of you in this room, 1 of you are an accountant, 1 of you are a marketing specialist, 1 of you have a background in a particular field, imagine coming together and pooling all of your resources and your talent to building a company that would be yours and would be successful. But imagine doing that same thing by yourself. You're not an accountant. You don't know to manage financing. You don't, you don't know marketing. You're going to take longer to be successful. And that's the point I'm trying to make. So we have to, the way that we think now we really need to reorganize and re-energize the way that we're thinking about business. We have also engaged several of the commercial banks who will be partnering with us in the development bank to expand the lending capacity. Lending to a co-financing mechanism that would unlock up to $10 million in loans at preferential interest rates. So while the development bank will give you $3 million, interest-free, no collateral, you can use that as well to unlock a further $7 million from the commercial bank at a reduced interest rate. So before, when you went to the commercial bank and they said to you, you have to have collateral, and you didn't have it, now you have it. You have $3 million from the Guyana Development Bank. You don't have to pay interest on that. And we are working very closely with the banks so that when you come in and we sit and we work with you and we go through your proposal and we train you and we help you with expanding your business idea, then we take you to the commercial banks if you need more than $3 million. One of the major questions businesses have been asking is what exactly will be required to qualify for this loan. So beyond financing, the bank will offer capacity building support, such as financial literacy training, mentorship, business development assistance, and technical guidance to improve managerial capabilities, enhancing sustainability, and enabling business expansion. So I said to you earlier that this is not going to be like the previous bank. This is not going to be, you walk into the bank and say, I would like to have $3 million, I want to go do this particular project. It's not that simple. And this is why we're having this conversation today, and I thank the President. And this is why we've been having this conversation across the country, because we want people to put themselves and to get ready from now. So you're going to have to set up your business, register your business, have all your compliance documents. Then when you come into the bank, we're going to work with you and we will train you depending on what sector you're in. So if you come in tourism, or you come in agriculture, or you come in manufacturing, we're going to sit with you and we're going to help you improve with what you want to do already. So we're going to help you, for instance, if you're in agriculture, we're going to work with the Ministry of Agriculture to see all of the things that we can do, the services that Ministry of Agriculture have, that we can support you with your idea. If you're in manufacturing, we will work with you through the other agencies that we have to see how we can help you with packaging, with marketing, with markets for your products. So we will use all the machinery of the state to help you with your business idea. So you may think of your business idea up to here. We're going to help you with everything else to get you here. Because our objective is to make sure that you are successful in the venture that you want to do, and that you will, of course, pay back the money, but that you can expand what you're doing as well. The application process for the bank has been structured to ensure that it's very transparent and the accessibility for prospective applicants is very seamless. So we're going to develop, there is a website that we're developing. There's an app that we will introduce. It will be very simple, very easy for your application process, but also for you to monitor how you're doing. Not just the application process, but the approval process, the training, the mentorship, and then how you are paying back your loan that you would have taken. So everything will be at your fingertips. You will be required to prepare your relevant business information and supporting documents, complete the application form, meet with the business advisors, and access guidance and financing that's suited to your business needs. The required documents would include, of course, your national identification, and I hope all of you in this room have gotten your EID cards. You got it, Roche? That's great. And I'm telling you, if you haven't got it, please go get it. Because there's some exciting news that's going to be announced soon about those EID cards, and you would want to be the first, or you would want to have it in your wallet already. So, as I was saying, national identification card, your business registration documents, a detailed business plan, which we will help you with as well, financial statements where it's applicable, and of course your proof of address. Now, if you have your EID card, you don't need to walk with proof of address because you have it there already. So, this process aims to bring accountability while supporting our entrepreneurs through each stage of the development process. The initiative prioritizes the mentorship and advisory support as part of its broader development role, recognizing that many entrepreneurs possess very strong potential but limited access to professional guidance. The bank's advisory services are therefore expected to support the business planning, the financial management, the marketing, and the operational efficiency. Now, these are important because what we have found in similar banks around the world is that you're going to have a high concentration of women and youths who will come to access or to be beneficiaries of the banking system, which is what we want to see too. So let's take, for example, in India. In India, their development bank have between 400 to 550 million beneficiaries. They have disbursed over US $500 billion in loans, with 68 to 70% of those beneficiaries all women. So imagine the growth of the private sector in India and the opportunities that have been created just by having a bank that caters to support people who cannot get access to traditional lending. And we have a lot of those in Guyana, and we want them to be part of it. In Bangladesh, for example, the SME sector caters for 25% of Bangladesh's GDP. Around 11.8 million SME entrepreneurs exist in Bangladesh. Over 70% of them borrow for micro and cottage enterprises. Same thing that we were talking about earlier. In Guyana, credit to the agriculture sector from our commercial banks have expanded by $1.3 billion to $32.8 billion as of today. Credit to the mining and quarry sector grew by $1.7 billion. Credit to manufacturing rose to $12.9 billion. Lending to service sector expanded from $18 billion to $17.9 billion as of today. Small and medium-sized enterprises in Guyana have received more than $2.3 billion in financial support since 2020 through a combination of government-backed loan guarantees and grant funding as efforts as we try to intensify and strengthen entrepreneurship and expand the non-oil economy. But there are some other important statistics that we need to look at that is certainly going to improve when we have the development bank. So over the last 5 years, we had the registration of 80,000 businesses. 80,000 businesses are registered over the last 5 years. 5,000 loans were issued by IPED in 2025. So let's look at the numbers. 80,000 businesses registered, 5,000 loans were issued by IPED. Out of the 5,000 loans that were issued by IPED, 1,745 of them were women. So there's a gap. There's a gap. While credit is expanding, many SMEs and the people who we spoke about earlier that have the ideas still are not getting access to financing that is suited to their cash cycle, their scale, or the risk profile that they have. This is what the Development Bank is aiming to address, to meet that segment of our population that have beautiful ideas, that have the energy and the passion, but don't have access to the financing, don't have the collateral, can't afford to pay the high interest rates to have their ideas and their projects being realized. We want to ensure that this bank and everyone who steps in the door of this bank is successful. Because their success means all of our success in here. And I want to encourage all of you too, that we must support each other. We must support each other as far as we can. Local industries, whatever ideas that you have, whatever you need, if you don't know where to get it, speak to the GMSA, find out from their membership who's producing something that you need, and work and collaborate together. Because we can't afford to be priced out of this economy. Unfortunately, it's a free market economy. We live under a democracy. So don't expect extra protectionism. We can't do that. But the president is creating the environment for every single Guyanese, to the exclusion of none, to be part of this. We have the GOAL program. The GOAL program is not just people who want to do degrees and masters and PhDs. There are certificates under the GOAL program for you to learn marketing, financial literacy, everything that you will need to be successful. That's free of cost to you and to every Guyanese. There's the Coursera platform that is there as well. An internationally, globally recognized institution that provides training to you. If you had to pay for this, you would have paid hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to learn the same thing. You are having access to free. So when I say that we have created an environment for every Guyanese. And this is not discriminatory. This is not just for the people in Georgetown. It is for every Guyanese, no matter where you are, to participate in what the future is bringing. The public sector, very soon, you will, if you haven't started seeing it already, is going towards a more modern way of governance and our relationship with the citizens of Guyana. Very soon, you wouldn't need to go to government agencies. You will have everything and all of the services on your phone or your iPad or your laptop. Very soon. Very soon, you will have digital wallets. You will forget what it was like to go and line up to renew your passport. That is the way that government is moving. That is what we're working on, very aggressively. And like I said, with the example of the Berbice Bridge, as these things are implemented, we are going to forget all of the challenges that we've had before. But I'm saying this to say to you that you need to think different. You need to think different in how you approach business. There's nothing that you want to do that can be successful today. Any idea that you have, no matter how small it is, I can guarantee you, if you start with a small business today, in 4 or 5 years, that will become a medium-sized business if you haven't expanded very quickly already. And look at people who have started businesses in 2015, when oil and gas just started. People started printery business, transportation business, food business. Now these are big businesses, hundreds of millions of dollars. And they started very, very small. So as our economy grows, as thousands of people start coming in and flocking into Guyana, you be part of the solution, the business solution to what is happening. And this development bank is to help you to get started and to ensure that you are successful. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Minister. We're so pleased for the quality of the presentation that you presented. I'm certain that from the audience and from the fact that the government is constantly thinking about development, that this idea is certainly welcome. From a financial perspective, prior to the establishment of the credit bureau, which is now called Every Data, there was a prevalent problem where you had piggybacking across the banks in terms of addressing financing, double borrowing, triple borrowings that created a credit problem, all right? So that particular entity plays a vital role in ensuring that we do not create future indebtedness, more so for our young people who are going to benefit from this particular idea. My question to you is, when these individuals approach the government bank, would there be a requirement that requires accessing that report to determine whether there was financing before, and if there wasn't any, and they now benefit from that particular financing, would that be reported through the credit, through Every Data, so that the other financial institutions can be aware of that and make prudent decisions that can ultimately help our Guyanese brothers and sisters not to be over-indebted and to create future problems for themselves?
Yes, thank you. That's a very important question. Yes, everything will be linked through the credit bureau system, right? As I said, this is not a handout. This is not a cash grant. This is a loan, but it is a loan that's collateral-free and interest-free. So all of the requirements, the credit bureau, looking at your history, etc., all of that will be checked and all of that will be entered into the system because we are working very closely with the bank as well, right, with the banking sector. So that will be part of it. So if there are any ideas of not paying back the loan, it will show up in your credit report. And if you don't get your cash grant, don't wonder why. It probably went to pay back the government, right? I'm just saying, I mean, don't take my word for it.
Minister, someone asks, what if someone defaults?
Yeah, so it applies the same way. I mean, if you default, obviously, we hope that probably you run into some problems. You come in, we will work with you, right? The idea, and this is a continuous, this bank is there, and the officers of the bank that will be stationed in every single region is there to work with everyone. The work doesn't stop by the issuance of a check. The work stops when you would have repaid everything and you've gone off on your own. We will be continuously working with everyone.
There we go. Someone else asked, what would be the time frame to repay $3 million?
Well, excuse me. That depends on the type of business you have. So some business may bring in revenues faster, some may take time. So when you come in and sit with the officers and they go through what you're doing, how you're doing, you have your cash flow, all of that they will help you with to be as realistic as possible. That will determine how long you can repay that loan. So it will be on a case-by-case basis.
When will the bank be opened?
I will leave the president to announce that.
Yeah, good afternoon, Minister. I'm asking if digital ID is a must requirement.
No, it's not a must requirement.
Thank you very much.
No. But it will make your life a lot easier, right? If, and I mean no disrespect here, if you want to be an old person walking around with a set of documents in a plastic bag, and you look at the other guy and all he has is one card in his pocket, shooting it out like this, that's your choice. But that's the way that's the way the government is heading, and that's the way our country is heading, right? So I will still encourage everyone to get that EID card.
Would GR and NIS compliance be a requirement?
Yes.
A few questions are coming in to my personal phone, and so I'm looking two places. Someone asks, a bank is a business at the end of the day with no interest. How will the bank be sustainable, and how will staff or the secretariat be financed?
So the staff will be, they're working for the government. This is a government bank. And it will be sustainable because we expect everybody to repay their loan, right? We expect you to repay your loan because when you don't, then you're not helping your brother and your sister and your neighbor and your friend. So, as I said, it's not gonna be the Guy Bank story. We're not gonna give you a loan if we feel that you can't make it or you just pop up. We are going to sit and work with you. We're gonna go through that plan with you. We will train you. You have to be as convinced as we are that what you want to do will work. So, not worried about the sustainability. It will work.
What will be done to protect intellectual property of digital and creative products?
That's a whole new sector that we're currently looking at right now too.
Minister, thank you for coming. Quick question. You said that no one is going to be left out. We have about 60,000 public servants who generally can't access Small Business Bureau today because they're public servants.
Yeah.
If no one is going to be left out, what is the government going to do to ensure that public servants, many of whom have businesses, can actually access this collateral, and they'll also be able to access the services of Small Business Bureau, which they can't do today. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So public servants will have access to this bank and this loan. One of the things what we wouldn't like is if we're going to be helping a public servant to develop a business. So provide a service to the same place that they're working. That's not going to happen. Exactly. No conflict of interest business. But yes, absolutely. Public servants also will have access to this. The question at the back there too.
So my question is, will the capacity development initiatives such as training and mentoring that you mentioned earlier be offered directly by the bank, or do you plan to partner with local training institutions that provide these services?
Yes, we're partnering with local training institutions who will all come under the umbrella of the bank.
So I'm going to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
So if you said no conflict of interest, who is evaluating the conflict of interest? Is it another public servant?
No, the bank will be staffed with very specialized and trained people, people who have banking experience as well, that are not public servants.
Questions from the floor? All right, I'll go to the platform. How does the Guyana Development Bank generate revenue if it does not charge interest or require collateral?
Right.
Yes,
I
that
think
right?
that's self-explanatory, right?
Yes. Would
Yeah.
registration with the Small Business Bureau be a requirement?
Would
Would registration with the Small Business Bureau be a requirement?
No.
When is legislation expected to pass?
as soon as we get into Parliament, which is very soon.
Are there opportunities for collaboration, I guess this is for Peter, with IDB on cybersecurity or cloud adoption initiatives for small businesses?
Yeah, we're happy to speak with anyone who wants to collaborate.
What if one person in a partnership meets the criteria, but their business partner doesn't?
You're coming together, right? So we lend to the company or the business. Yeah.
Is there a time limit on this facility, the bank? I ask that because in light of the question, how does the bank survive if no interest is paid?
Mhm.
Is there a limit to say you're going to do this for 5 years or 10 years? Because there must be some sort of sustainability plan.
Yeah. Yeah, the bank will be very sustainable. I mean, like I said, we don't see this, how it is developed, how it will work, how these finances will be disbursed, would be one where, remember, the government is doing this so that we can unlock the potential of a segment of our society that have brilliant ideas but can't have access to financing to see those ideas pan out. So the government will obviously continue to put money into the bank. As we see the interest grow, as we see a lot of people coming in, all of these accounts will be audited every year by the Auditor General. It will be laid in Parliament. The whole of Guyana would see how the bank is doing, where the finances are going, and how it is being spent. If at some point, and I'm 100% confident this would not be the case, because we are not doing something that is new here. We are not reinventing the wheel here. I spoke about India, I spoke about Bangladesh, I spoke about other countries who have done the exact same thing that we're doing and that have unlocked millions of people into the private sector and has contributed significantly to the economic growth of not only small businesses, but women businesses, youth businesses, etc. So this isn't, don't be afraid, this is not something that we just sat down and we said, oh, it's a nice idea. These are things that have been tried and tested There's a model for this already, and I will encourage all of you to go and read up on it, because the more you know of how this operates, how it works, the better it is that you too can explain it to others, and you too can understand the role that every one of you will play in making this successful as well.
Any other questions from the floor?
So if you don't have a period like 5, 10 years to stop, is there a cap on the funding to say it'll be $6 billion and when we're done lending this, it ends? Is there a cap?
Right now, I will say to you, we're not there at a cap yet. What we know is that there are a lot of brilliant Guyanese out there, have a lot of brilliant proposals that we need to help, that we need to get. And as we grow out, we're going to measure this to see how it progresses. So by the end of the year, by the next budget, we will be able to tell the people of Guyana how this bank is performing. The people of Guyana, as I said earlier, everything will be fully transparent and open. Every account will be audited. Every injection from the government will be laid through Parliament. All the finances will be tabled in Parliament. So you will see that. You will see that, and we got to look at it on a year by year, how it is progressing and how it's developing.
All right. Answered that already. Okay, what about people who have issues with literacy or are disabled and are unable to create those formal documents?
So we have, in every region, we will have offices there. And apart from the offices that are there in every region, in every NDC, we have a help desk. And those persons that are manning those help desks are there to support Guyanese, not only with the development bank, but with all of the government services that we have.